Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and welcome to today's video, which I'm so excited for, where I am going to be talking about all of the books that are releasing in Q3 of this year that I am excited about. I have been doing a pretty good job of keeping up with new releases this year, not only ones that have recently come out, but also books that are about to come out, and being able to email publishers about them, request them on NetGalley, talk about them in videos. I just like being in the know with books that are coming out, especially from some of my favorite authors. So I've done a very similar video for both Q1 and Q2 of 2023, and I'm excited to get to Q3. I think I have 20 books to talk about, and actually 16 of them are releasing in August. I don't know what it is, but August is by far the biggest publishing month that I've seen for genres and authors that I'm interested in. And then I only have one release to talk about in July and 3 in September. I will also talk about any books that I already have access to on NetGalley or in some other format, and also just an FYI for where I find out about books that are coming out. NetGalley is a big one. They have a really great browsing feature, so you can just look at upcoming books that are available to request. I also follow a lot of my favorite authors on Instagram and Twitter, which is where they announce upcoming books that they have coming out, and a lot of times other creators will retweet or post on their story about announcements that come out about upcoming books or cover reveals, different things for authors that I enjoy. And then also videos like this. I watch a lot of other creators do anticipated release videos, so that also helps me find out about books that are coming out soon. So let's just get into it. I'm going to go in order of publication date. The only release that I have that I'm excited about in July is on July 18th, A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing is coming out. I have read all of Samantha Downing's other novels that she's published. She typically writes mystery thrillers. My favorite has been He Started It, which is somewhat of an unpopular opinion. My Lovely Wife is definitely her most popular book, and For Your Own Good is her most recent release that came out in 2021. I didn't love that one, but hoping I enjoy this one coming out in July. Then getting into August, where I have something releasing basically every week on Tuesdays, which are release days for books. On August 1st, there are 5 books that I have my eye on. The first is The Trap by Catherine Ryan Howard. This is another thriller author. The one book by her that I have read so far is 56 Days. I also own Runtime by her, and I'm really excited to read it. It sounds like a meta type of thriller, which I sometimes usually enjoy. And I don't really know much about what The Trap is about, but I'm intrigued by the cover and want to read more by this author. Then we have Family Lore by Elizabeth Acevedo. This is one of my favorite young adult contemporary authors. I've read all of her books that she already has out, really enjoyed them. This one I believe is her first adult novel, and I think it has to do with, of course, family dynamics. It looks like it's about a Dominican American family awaiting a gathering that will forever change their lives. Don't need to know much more about that. I do actually already have access to this book through Libro FM. They have an ALC program where they give advanced listener copies of audiobooks to influencers. It's one of my favorite things about Libro. And this is one of them for June. So I actually already have this one downloaded and will be listening to it soon. Also, I forgot to mention The Trap by Catherine Ryan Howard I do have on NetGalley. Another one that I'm interested in coming out on August 1st is Mr. Magic by Kiersten White. This author wrote Hide, which came out last year in 2022 and was kind of a horror thriller that I saw a lot of really negative reviews for, so I didn't pick it up. At this point, I've seen enough reviews and discussions on the book that I think I know the spoiler, I know what happens, I know what direction it goes in, and it doesn't really sound like my vibe. But this one, I feel like I kind of want to give a try before I see everyone else read it and potentially hate it or just talk about it, so I can maybe read it in an unbiased way. But it sounds like this is another dark supernatural thriller that takes place 30 years after a tragic accident shut down production of a classic children's program, and it follows the 5 surviving cast members. Sounds interesting. I have no idea what the supernatural element is or if I'll enjoy it. Typically, I prefer realistic thrillers, but again, I'm expecting there to be a lot of discourse about this book in general, so I kind of want to be in the know. Also coming out on August 1st is Gone Tonight by Sarah Pekkanen, and yes, that's only Sarah Pekkanen, not with Greer Hendricks, which they have been a thriller writing duo for a while, so it's going to be interesting seeing a book from just one of them. It looks to be somewhat of a domestic thriller between a mother and a daughter. Shall be interesting. And then the one that I'm most excited about coming out on August 1st is Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister. This author wrote Wrong Place, Wrong Time, which was one of my favorite mysteries of last year. It was a backwards time loop type of sci-fi thriller. This author has written a whole bunch of other books in the past, and I do want to go and explore her backlist at some point, but I know for sure I want to keep up with her new releases because I was just so impressed by that last book that she wrote and how smartly crafted it was. and I'm hoping this is the same. Then on August 8th, I've got 4 books coming out that I'm interested in. The first is Dark Corners by Megan Golden. This is a sort of series to The Night Swim written by this author, which I did read and generally enjoyed. I believe it follows the same podcast host. She's basically a true crime podcaster, and in the first book she followed one crime, and I think in the second book she's following a completely different crime, so they're only related in that way. I don't think you have to read The Night Swim first, but I don't know that for sure. I do have this book on NetGalley as well, so I will be reading it shortly and can give a little bit more of a review once I do read it. Then we have 2 books coming out on August 8th that I saw both of them in one of Gabby's videos on Gabby Reads. She had the arcs of both of them and read them in a vlog. I had neither of these on my radar before watching that video, and then her thoughts on these books made me really interested. The first is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. I have read one other Lisa Jewell book. I think I read The Family Upstairs. Didn't love it, but I know a lot of people really enjoy Lisa Jewell's writing, so I would be totally willing to give her another chance, especially if it's a book that has a lot of really good ratings. This says it's a psychological thriller about a woman who finds herself the subject of her own popular true crime podcast. Interesting that it's another podcast book. And then the other one that Gabby mentioned is The Last One by Will Dean, another author who has written a whole bunch of mystery thrillers. I have never read anything by him before, but the way Gabby described this book and her reading experience made me so interested. It's about a character who goes onto a cruise ship. She spends the first night exploring the ship, making some friends, and then the next morning when she wakes up, she finds everyone missing. She's the only person on the entire cruise ship, which is terrifying and so interesting to me. Cannot wait to read that one. The last book coming out on August 8th that I'm interested in is called Whalefall by Daniel Kraus, and honestly it was the cover of this book that I saw someone post about in some Facebook group that I'm in, and I was immediately intrigued. Goodreads says this is a scientifically accurate thriller about a scuba diver who's been swallowed by an 80-foot, 60-ton sperm whale and has only 1 hour to escape before his oxygen runs out. Sounds like just a fast-paced, action-packed thriller, which I wish was a little bit more prevalent. I love reading them. I love getting my heart rate up reading thrillers, and so I hope that that's what this is. And it definitely seems like something a little bit different from other thrillers that I read, more of the domestic type of thrillers. All right, getting into August 15th, I have 2 books that are on my radar. The first is The Trade-Off by Sandy Jones. I thought I had read one other book by Sandy Jones, but it doesn't look like I have on Goodreads. This is another fairly well-known mystery thriller author. A lot of people I know have liked her books. This one, I'm not really sure what it's about. It says it begs the question of, would you tell a story if you knew it was a lie, or tell the truth and sleep at night? And it appears that that's in the context of being a reporter, which is interesting. I would hope tell the truth, but I would be interested to hear how that kind of plays out in this book. And then the other one releasing on the 15th is More Perfect by Temi O. This book I was told about from my friend Gwen. Temi O is the author of a book I really loved called Do You Dream of Terra 2? It was a young adult sci-fi book set in space. I recommended that book to Gwen. She read it and also really enjoyed it, and then she let me know that that author has another book coming out, and it is this one. I'm a little bit not sure if it's going to be my vibe. It says it's a reimagining of the Greek myth of Eurydice and Orpheus. Not sure if I'm even saying those correctly, but it's using that myth as a structure, and it's a science fiction novel set in a near future London where it's become popular for folks to have a small implant that allows one access to a more robust social media experience directly as an augmented reality. That part sounds really interesting. The whole Greek myth part, not as sure, but I am definitely willing to give this author a chance because I did enjoy that other book by them so much. Okay, on August 22nd, 2 more books that I am excited about. The first is called Looking Glass Sound by Katrina Ward. This author I have really enjoyed. She typically writes horror-ish thriller books. The Last House on Needless Street she wrote was very popular. I did enjoy that one, but I did know the main reveal or spoiler of it before going in. And then Sundial came out last year and I really enjoyed that one. And it was a very pleasant surprise because I wasn't sure if I would like it, but I really did. So I'm interested in more by this author. It appears to be another twisty psychological horror. Also coming out on the 22nd is I'm Not Done With You Yet by Jessie Sutanto, who is the author of Dial A for Aunties and Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, which are both more cozy mystery type books. I haven't read them, but I have seen generally good reviews for both of those. And this one appears to be more of a dark, twisty suspense novel, which are my buzzwords, so I'm interested in this one. Going to be keeping an eye out for the reviews and things that come in for it. Okay, last but not least in August, 3 books coming out on the 29th. First, we have Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. Alice Feeney is very polarizing as a thriller author. Not only each individual book, but just her writing style in general, I think really works for some readers and really doesn't work for others. Luckily for me, it does really work. I like her kind of humor and quippiness that she puts into her writing. She definitely does the thing at the end of chapters where it ends on like a mini cliffhanger, like the dun 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 type of moment to keep you reading. I like that even though it's sometimes a little bit gimmicky. She also does tend to go big with her twists, which even if I can see them coming, I do respect a big twist. Even better if I don't see it coming. So this one, I'm not really sure what it's about. 20 years after a baby is stolen from a stroller, a woman is murdered in a care home. The two crimes are somehow linked, and a good bad girl may be the key to discovering the truth. Sounds interesting. I'm for sure reading it. Don't need to know anything else. Also coming out on the 29th is Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. This is the author of Miracle Creek, which is more of a slow burn mystery that has a court case, so you get those court scenes. I really enjoyed that one, and she hasn't written anything else other than it looks like a novella earlier in 2023. So I'm excited for another full-length novel 4 years after her first one. The description says, when a father goes missing, his family's desperate search leads them to question everything they knew about him and one another. Both a riveting page-turner and a deeply moving portrait of a family in crisis from the award-winning author of Miracle Creek. Yeah, we'll see. I'll give it a try, and I do have this one on NetGalley already. This last one that I'm interested in, coming out August 29th, is a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but honestly, the cover sucked me in. It's called I Feed Her to the Beast, and the Beast is Me by Jameson Shea. The description says Ace of Spades meets House of Hollow in this villain origin story. I loved Ace of Spades. I have not read House of Hollow. That one seems a little bit more fantastical, whereas Ace of Spades is a much more realistic thriller. And the synopsis, it says, despite being constantly overlooked in the elite and cutthroat world of the Parisian ballet, she will do anything to prove that a black girl can take center stage. That sounds so good. And come on, this cover and that title, I'm so intrigued. And I can't wait to give this one a try and see if it is something that I like. And finally, getting into the 3 books coming out in September that I'm interested in. The first one I think I saw on Twitter and I was like, wait, what? It's called 19 Steps by Millie Bobby Brown. And yes, it is that Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things and other things, a great actress. And this is a historical fiction book, which is not something that I see celebrities really ever write. Of course, we see celebrity memoirs. Sometimes we see cringy celebrity fantasy or even contemporary books. Usually more surface level and often YA, but this looks like it's a full-blown, emotional, hard-hitting historical fiction book set in World War II, and I am all for it. I emailed the publisher about this one, and I'm really hoping I somehow get to read it early because it seems like a whole bunch of things that I love, and how cool for Millie Bobby Brown. Then switching gears a little bit, on the 19th of September, Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsner is a book that I've seen floating around Instagram that the cover immediately caught my eye for. It of course looks like a sapphic sports romance taking place on a soccer team. Love it, so fun. Looks like maybe a little bit of a grown-up version of You Don't Have a Shot by Raquel Marie, which I recently loved. Rated 5 stars, because this is about characters falling in love as their team gears up for the World Cup. So a little bit of a step up from high school. Love it, can't wait, love a good LGBTQ romance. And then last but not least, the very last book that I have to talk about in this video, it is The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. This was a NetGalley find. I was immediately intrigued by the cover. I love the colors, and the synopsis is a social media influencer with a secret past buys a murder house to renovate, but finds more than she bargained for behind the peeling wallpaper in this gothic psychological debut. It's giving Home Before Dark plus the social media influencer element. Could be something I absolutely love, but we will find out. I do also already have this one on NetGalley. So those are all of the books that I am most excited about releasing in July through September of this year. Let me know if I missed anything. I definitely think this was very heavy on mystery thrillers, which is not always the case. And I do like to diversify my actual reading a little bit more, but for some reason I don't find the other genres, contemporary romance, historical fiction, sci-fi, as easy to find information about upcoming books that I'm actually interested in or by authors that I've read from before. So let me know if I've missed anything, or let me know what your most anticipated book for Q3 is. Fingers crossed for all of us that they're all winners. But other than that, I don't think I have anything else. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.